Yeah, hello. My name is Matt Hull. I'm Cyber Threat Intelligence Manager at NCC Group, where I've worked for just over a year. So I got into cyber threat intelligence a little bit by accident, but I suppose I've been gearing myself up for it for years, really. So I was 12 years as a police officer, and the majority of that time I was a detective within intelligence operations. Most of that involved covert investigations into organised crime and such like. And then the back end of my career, I was a subject matter expert for open source intelligence research and the tactical lead for cybercrime investigations. So that's kind of where the cyber element came into it. I did some retraining, I guess. I went back to university and did a few qualifications at university, and that got me into cyber, where I was a pen tester for a while, about 18 months I was pen testing, and then I was asked in my current role just to jump on to lend a hand because of my OSINT skills with some TI engagements. And 6 months later, I ended up taking on that piece entirely. So that's kind of how I got into it. If anyone who wants to get into it, I'd say it's relatively straightforward. There's lots of individuals with different skill sets and different backgrounds that can get into it. As I say, my background is mostly law enforcement. I'm aware of lots of people from military who get into this type of work as well. But also there's obviously people with more technical backgrounds, pen testers, information security specialists and such like. Any advice, it would be just to speak to the rest of the community, really, and see the opportunities that are available. So my average working day varies, I guess. I try to start each day doing the same sort of thing. I like to read the various threat feeds that are knocking about. I like to know what's going on in the threat landscape, see what various actors are involved in. Fortunately, I'm still quite hands-on with the actual practical delivery of threat intelligence, which is good because it keeps my skills up. It keeps me involved in the type of work as well. I'm mostly involved in regulator-driven threat intelligence, so the likes of the CBEST scheme and also the stuff out in Europe, so TIBA, and out in APAC as well. So delivering on those sorts of projects. But again, because I guess my forte is OSINT type skills, I'm also involved in a lot of bespoke targeted assessments. So looking at target profiles for executives within organizations and things like that, developing what I like to call target packs for those types of individuals. And then when I'm not doing that sort of thing, I'm obviously overseeing multiple projects at any one time. So that's when the CCTIM type qualification comes into play. So I project manage a lot of those engagements as well. So when I'm not hands-on, it's dealing with the management, lots of client interaction. Quite often I have a weekly contact call with clients when I'm involved in those sorts of projects. So that's about it, really. Quite busy, very full on. The most interesting thing for me about working in CTI, I would say, is the ability to continue to do OSINT within the InfoSec world. I'm a bit of a nosy, so and say. I think that probably comes from my time as a detective. I love knowing things. I like nosing into people and businesses, and OSINT and cyber threat intel gives me that opportunity to carry that on, really. I'm very inquisitive, so I like to know more about something. So if, for example, we're targeting an organisation or an individual and we're looking at finding what information we can about them in the public domain, whether that be through social media or what have you, then that's right up my street. That I really enjoy that. The thing that probably made me want to apply for and ultimately get into the CTIPs world and the CTIPs Group is partly sharing what I know about this world, and I'm relatively new to it, albeit I've got experience from other backgrounds. Wanted to share what I know about things, my technical skills, my knowledge in OSINT, but also to learn from others. Clearly don't know everything. There's lots of people who've been doing this a lot longer than I have. So it's one of those places, it's a group where people can share knowledge and better themselves, look at best practice and so on. But also to try and spread the word about what threat intel is. I think there's a lot of misconception sometimes about what threat intel is. People often mistake it for threat hunting as opposed to the actual work that we're involved in. So it's just to spread that message really and make it a bit clearer. But one of the things that when I applied for the committee, I wanted to get involved a lot more in the public relations, the social media interaction and that sort of work. So I put myself forward to deal with that sort of stuff. So we're working on a couple of projects at the moment to pick up where we kind of left off, I guess, before COVID-19. There was a number of conferences and such like which were planned in, but we've had to look at alternative ways to deliver those sorts of things. And also that social element as well, the networking, looking at developing ways for us to continue that despite all being stuck indoors. So that's kind of what I'm getting involved in. One of the go-to places I point people to when they ask about what is threat intel, how do I get into it, is it something that would interest me, is there's a brilliant document on the CREST website, actually, the CREST Cyber Threat Intelligence Guide. I'm sure we can probably share a link to it, but I've posted it on the CTIPs Group on LinkedIn today. And that gives you a really good overview of what threat intelligence is from a theory point of view, but also from a practical point of view, and how it's implemented within business. So that's brilliant from an overall cyber threat intelligence point of view. But from the technical collection and the OSINT and the skills that are required for that, I would recommend highly following various blogs. Twitter is my go-to place for new tools and techniques for intelligence collection. One of my Bibles, as well as the books by Michael Bazell. A lot of people probably heard of him. He's excellent investigator. His tools that are available online as well are really useful. A person's technical ability, I don't think, should necessarily limit them if they want to get into CTI. I certainly don't have a massively technical background. The pen test stuff, I'm relatively self-taught. So in short, no, you don't need to be technical. It's good, I think, to have an understanding of computer technologies, networking, web technologies, albeit at quite a high level. And that's more from the point of view so you can understand the vulnerabilities that are associated with those technologies. Because when you're conducting CTI work, you're essentially putting the hat on of a bad guy. You're trying to compromise a network passively. You're looking for ways in which you could compromise an organization. So having an understanding of the vulnerabilities associated with certain technologies is useful. But short of that, you don't need to be technical. So I think from a skills point of view, or required skills, a big part of the work is being able to deliver your threat intelligence product. So written skills are essential, the ability to write decent reports, the ability to present them verbally as well I'm finding more and more important. A lot of clients are starting to ask, can we deliver the findings from our threat intelligence in a presentation as opposed to just a report as well? So the ability to research that information, assimilate it quickly and present it in a manner which is suitable for the audience is pretty essential, really, especially when you consider some of our readers of our products are going to be highly technical and some are going to be executive board members. So it needs to be written in a way which is suitable for the audience. And then I suppose if you go past the analyst point of view and if you move into the realms of threat intelligence manager, then time management is quite critical. Any project management background that people might have as well is quite useful because you tend to find that you're juggling more than one job at any one time. So keeping ahead of those is essential. You want to be looking for quality, I would suggest. If you were looking for a CTI provider, the CREST standard is clearly one of those signs of quality. Provides a level of assurance for organizations if your CTI provider is CREST registered and has CREST qualified employees or analysts. I would also suggest that you would want to look for organizations that don't just deliver this work, but actually go a little bit further and look at research papers or articles or blogs around threat intelligence. It just gives a greater level of quality, I guess, to those providers if they're doing that extra stuff as well as delivering client work. So I think that CTI is going to be more and more relevant as the years go by, I would suggest. There's obviously a lot of organisations that are going to have financial challenges over the coming months and have been already. So they need to get the benefit and best value for their information security budgets. I think CTI goes a long way to assist in that, because the products from cyber threat intelligence assessments allows organisations to focus on what the real threats are and where that organisation sits within the threat landscape. So they can focus their efforts on fixing problems or mitigating risks that have been identified through the threat intelligence that is provided. So yeah, I think it's going to be more and more relevant in that regard. I suppose the other thing I can see potentially happening is that the regulator-driven threat intelligence assessments, which are currently CBEST and the likes, I can see those moving more from just the financial services sector to other sectors in industry, because it's essentially best practice. And it's allowing organisations to test against real world threats if they are conducting assessments based on threat intelligence rather than just a generic red team or a generic pen test.